Hello, and welcome to the latest installment of our Caregiver Toolbox podcast. Firstly, we'd like to thank Frank Melia of Contour Mortgages for hosting us at this beautiful podcast studio. My name is Jason Bagan. I've been the office manager at Long Island Elder Care for 16 years. Chances are, if you've called our offices with a question regarding Medicare, deductibles, or your secondary insurances, you've spoken to me. I also assist with continuing education approvals, marketing, and supporting the office with other daily tasks. At Long Island Elder Care, we provide in-person and telehealth mental health, counseling to seniors in our office in Smithtown. We also provide mental health counseling to seniors in assisted livings. In addition to counseling, we are CEU providers for social work and case managers. We take a proactive approach to treatment, and we want our clients to educate themselves about the services that are available to them and to their loved ones. We always want to prevent emergency-driven planning, which can lead to a less than desired outcome. We all go through challenging times, and we are all having difficulty coping with the pandemic. We need support and coping tools to move forward in our lives. We are here to help. Today, I would like to introduce the Director of Business Development at the Bristol Assisted Living, Julie Wexler. She has been with the Bristol since 2013. Julie is extremely active in the senior community on Long Island, as well as a strong advocate for seniors and their families. Hi, Julie. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So firstly, the Bristol's first Long Island location opened back in 2001, but now it has expanded to 24 locations with the most recent one in Bethpage. Can you tell us a little bit more about what inspired the Ingle Berman Group to begin developing these properties and what values the Bristol stand for?
That's a great question. So we know that the population is aging, right? We hear this phrase, the graying of America, right? The 65 and over, the 85 and over population, not only in the United States, but right here in Nassau and Suffolk County, the fastest growing segment of our population. Mm-hmm. The homes that people purchased decades ago, really not conducive to aging safely in them. So our developers, our owners, set out back in 2001 to create an assisted living community that would really meet the needs, tastes, and expectations of particularly a Long Island-based audience. And that's how the Bristol at East Meadow, which was our very first community, came into being.
That's excellent, excellent. Now, often people confuse assisted livings and nursing homes. Can you give our listeners a quick overview about what the difference is between an assisted living and a nursing home would be?
Yes, we always want to try to distinguish assisted living from a nursing home, right? We hear the phrase assisted living and people's minds automatically go to that old age home of yesteryear. So a nursing home is going to be for somebody who needs more intense medical assistance and supervision, right? They're typically institutional type settings where you get a room with a bed, right? Assisted living, think of it as living in an apartment building where folks can live independently in their own apartment. Mm-hmm. And if they need any kind of assistance with activities of daily living, managing medications, we can provide that assistance and support for them. So you have your own private space, you have your own apartment, a studio apartment, a one-bedroom apartment, even a two-bedroom apartment at a Bristol. But when you open the door to your apartment, you have activities to participate in, you have a beautiful dining room to eat your meals in, and of course, I feel most importantly, you have opportunities for social engagement with your peers. So it is not the old age home, and it's hard for people to imagine that because we are only a 23-year-old organization. So the population that we're working with, that's where their mind goes. That's what they think, right? Most of the time, like the kids go and they're ready to move in, right? It's like living on a cruise. But for older adults, it's sometimes a difficult concept to understand. And we really encourage people to live as independently as they possibly can, with the dignity, with discreet care being provided, where the family also has peace of mind, knowing that their loved one is in a safe environment, getting the help that they need, and also around other people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of which, the Bristols are so much more than just a place to live. The activities that the residents get to participate in that enhance their quality of life. Can you tell us a little bit more about those activities?
Sure. So let me tell you about just a fictional resident, let's just say Dolores, who lives at the Bristol. And Dolores is 87 years old. And prior to living at the Bristol, she was home alone. Her day was really waiting for her daughter to come visit. She wasn't eating well. She was even mixing up her medications. So we supported Dolores and her family into moving into the Bristol. So what does a day in the life of a typical resident look like? And certainly everyone has their own experience when they're moving into the Bristol. But a typical resident is going to have maybe somebody come up to their apartment in the morning. Maybe Dolores has some arthritis. It's hard for her to get out of bed. Maybe there's a little cognitive decline, and so she needs some extra help selecting clothing, making sure her dirty clothes end up in the laundry, getting out of bed, getting ready for the day. She leaves her apartment at 8:30. Her 3 new best friends are waiting for her in the dining room, right? So, and that's really the one of the major benefits of living in a community, right? That your friends are right there. You don't have to go anyplace. You just go downstairs and the dining room is there. So she's eating a beautiful breakfast, a healthy breakfast, her coffee, her fruit. We pride ourselves in the culinary experience at the Bristol, and so we're going to make sure that she eats a healthy breakfast. We're going to make sure that Dolores gets her medications. Once breakfast is over, typically we start the day with some kind of morning exercise, usually chair exercise. It might be chair yoga or some other kind of physical activity that's going to just help keep her healthy and strong. After the exercise class, she might have an arts and crafts. She might have a political discussion. There might be a book club. After those activities, she's going to lunch. Once again, she's got a menu to choose from. So there's a chef-inspired entrees that she can select from, and she's eating a great lunch. After lunch, there might be an afternoon movie. There might be a trip to the local grocery store if she wants to get refreshments for her own apartment. Can't forget about bingo. There is bingo, but we also might have an entertainer. We might have a men's club group happening. And now it's time for dinner. She's getting that glass of wine with dinner, and once again, she's eating with her girlfriends. And then after dinner, there might be some kind of an activity. In the evening, she's going back up to her apartment. We're going to be sending an aide up to her apartment to help her get ready for for her night. If something happens in the middle of the night and she's not feeling well, she has an emergency pendant to press. She has a pull cord she can pull. There's going to be somebody there for her 24/7. Peace of mind for the family, knowing that she's safe and in a beautiful place.
That's perfect. You can really tell there's a plethora of activities and amenities that are available. So what other states are the Bristols located in?
So the Bristol is located on Long Island. We have 16 communities on Long Island. We also have Westchester, New York City, as well as New Jersey.
Excellent, excellent. And the Bristols are unique in some of the services that they offer at the various locations. So can you give us a little bit more information about the services that are offered at each individual location, or some of the
Yeah, so for the most part, all of our Bristol communities provide what we call independent living. So that might be somebody who really is just of advanced age, who doesn't want to have to manage the home anymore, right? The cooking, the cleaning, the gardener, the stairs are difficult to manage in a home, and the person is becoming increasingly socially isolated because their friends are getting older too, and their friends are passing away, and they're no longer driving. And so somebody might choose to move to the Bristol simply because, for lifestyle reasons, because they don't want to be home alone in their house anymore. If the time comes that they do need a little bit of extra support with taking a shower, with getting dressed, with reminders, with medication management, we have a whole team, a wellness department that puts together an individualized care plan for each resident to help meet the needs of that individual. It's typically overseen by a nurse. We also have social workers in our communities that can help to put together this plan so that the person can remain as independent as possible with the dignity and the support that they need. Each Bristol community also has a secured memory neighborhood called Reflections, which is for those folks with significant memory loss. We can't have this conversation about aging, Jason, without acknowledging the fact that when we're 65 years old, we have a 1 in 10 chance of having a dementia diagnosis. By the time we are 85, it is 1 in 2.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
50%. Our average age at the Bristol is 87. So this is something that we deal with every day. And certainly we have folks with memory loss and cognitive decline who live on what we call the assisted living side of the building. But if the time comes that that becomes too large of an environment, or perhaps the person needs more support, more supervision, more specialized activities, or they can't manage the menu anymore, we have Reflections, which is our memory neighborhood. And everything that we do in Reflections is designed to support people with memory loss. Even the way that we serve the meal, the way that we run activities, the way that we provide care and communicate with the residents, and it's ongoing training for our staff to be able to communicate and provide care in a dignified and effective and safe manner. We do have a community in Nassau County called the Bristol at Lake Success. That is an all memory care community. So the entire building is secured. So whereas all the other Bristol communities have independent living and assisted living on one side, and then Reflections on the other, the Bristol at Lake Success is all memory care.
Excellent, excellent. And now the most important question. What is the process for a resident to begin to apply to the Bristol?
So it really starts with a phone call. And we know that people don't just wake up in the morning and decide, I'm going to go call the Bristol today. So we typically know that when somebody is calling our community, something has happened in their family's life. Maybe dad has passed away and mom has some memory loss and can't be home alone anymore. Or perhaps mom fell and broke her hip and the family's been concerned about her safety in the home, and now they're ready for that transition. So we're a pretty friendly group, and we understand the challenges that the family is going through and how difficult that first phone call is. So we really suggest that you set aside some time, maybe 30 minutes, to really have a conversation with our Director of Community Relations. We really want to get to know you and your challenges. We want to get to know about mom, and we also want to reassure you that this is what we do, and that we're going to be able to provide the care and support and the quality of life that your family is looking for the person you love the most in your life, right? It's so important. So typically it starts with a phone call, and then we're going to invite you in to come in to tour the community, right? Because this moving is hard, and you want to make sure that this is going to be the right decision for your loved one and for your family. And so we want you to come in for a visit. The visit usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour. You'll sit with our Director of Community Relations. We'll get to know you a little bit better, and then we're going to show you the community. We'll answer all of your questions. We'll go over the pricing with you. And then the step after that is to leave a deposit. If you decide to move forward, you'll leave a deposit for a particular apartment. And then that really gets the ball rolling in terms of the paperwork and us doing an assessment for mom. So our nurse or somebody else from our clinical team will meet with the potential resident to make sure that the care that they need falls within the parameters of what we can provide in assisted living. We put together that individualized care plan. And of course, we have folks on a very low level of care. We have folks on a very high level of care, so that's going to affect the rate. And then we schedule a move-in date. There's some other paperwork and things like that have to get completed by the physician, and so there's other paperwork and documents that we request. But that's really it.
Perfect, perfect. And where can listeners get more information about the Bristols?
So we have a website. It's www.thebristol, and Bristol is BRISTAL for assisted living.com. And you're always welcome to give me a call too. I know how overwhelming it can be. I'm a caregiver myself. I actually have a parent who lives at a Bristol community, so I know personally the peace of mind that it gives me and the quality of life that it gives my dad. You can always give me a call. It's 631-372-2150. And I'm always happy to help you and walk you through the process and even meet with you and go on the tour with you if that's what you'd like.
Thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate your time today. This has been excellent.
No, my pleasure. Always happy to discuss the benefits of assisted living with the professional community. So thank you.